Hello everyone. In today's video, I'll show you how MRP works in SAP Business One with a system demo. I'll quickly open SAP Business One, and before we start our demo, I want to show some items, or I want to show the basic configurations needed for the MRP in the master data. So first of all, in the planning tab. In the planning tab of the items which you want to plan out in MRP, the planning method should set as MRP, and then the procurement method should be either buy or make. Buy is for the items which you will purchase, and make is for the items which you will produce in your factory. Other than these two selections, you need to also define the order interval, order multiple, minimum order quantity, lead time, and tolerance days. Now, the order multiple and lead time and tolerance days, these are not mandatory. If you don't use in your supply chain, you don't have to define, you can simply leave them as blank. And same for the minimum order quantities. If you maintain the minimum order quantities in your warehouse for different items, so that minimum order quantity should be defined. Otherwise, you can simply leave it as a blank. So I have some items for today's demo. So basically, I have 5 items from MRP1 to MRP5. So MRP1 is basically, it's a buy item which I will purchase from suppliers. And MRP2 is a production item which I produce in my factory, and it has a bill of material in the production module. MRP3 is the component of the MRP2. It's just for the example how MRP considered the demand of the components which are used in the bill of materials. And MRP4 is a semi-finished item which is used in MRP2. And MRP5 is the component of the semi-finished item. Other than this, I have a production order for the semi-finished item which is already defined, and it's released, and it has a due date of 15th February. So before I execute the MRP, I need to define the forecast, or I should have sales orders which will be as a demand in my MRP calculations. So I do have a sales order, and in this sales order, customer ordered 2 items, MRP1 and MRP2. MRP2 is a manufacturing item, and MRP1 is the simple trading item. I purchase it from a vendor and resell it to the customers. And this order has a due date of 24th of February. And the quantities of MRP1 and MRP2 are 105. If I look at the stock position, there is nothing in the stock for both items, as you can see here. Now I'll go to MRP, MRP Wizard, and I can define a new scenario, or I can choose an existing scenario. I'll choose an existing scenario, and I will go step by step, so you will find out if you have to create a new scenario, what are the needed steps. So first of all, a scenario name, date range, and then the planning horizon. Let's say how you want to see the results. You want to see the results in days, in weeks, or in months. If you are planning for a year, then definitely you will be interested in months. If you are planning for a short period, then you will be interested to see the results in days. Then just a checkbox to consider the holidays for production and purchase items. This is in case you have lead times, or you have defined the holidays in the administration module and you want to consider them while system is recommending you a planned delivery date, or a planned date of supply. And then how you want to see the results. The next screen is I can run the MRP for selected items. Okay, or I can run it for all items. For selected items, I can select it based on item group, date range, or even based on some user-defined fields. okay, or even based on the properties. Let's say I'll choose all items because I have only few items which are marked as relevant to MRP in master data. Then I can choose the warehouses which I want to consider in MRP, and I can select if I want to include the existing inventory in those warehouses in my MRP run. Then the sources of supply and demand. By default, system choose purchase orders and sales orders as the main documents for supply and demands and production order also. However, you can choose other documents also. And the next setting is the inventory level. I mean, when the system is recommending, then how it should recommend you. Should it recommend the required inventory level, or should it recommend you the minimum inventory levels or maximum inventory levels? If you don't have minimum or maximum inventory levels defined in the item master data, then required level is the recommended approach. And it depends upon how you want to plan out. Are you looking to check the requirements according to minimum inventory levels, or are you looking to check the requirements according to actual requirements from the sales orders? If you do have a fair forecast, I mean, if you don't want to consider the demands from the sales order, you can leave it blank and you can choose a forecast. You can define different forecasts under the MRP, and it's simple. You just need to set a name and forecast period, and you can select the items warehouse and choose the quantity. This forecast is basically like a demand as per your planning or as per your expectation. Once you are done, then you can simply click on run, and MRP will show you results. So as I have 5 items only in the system which have correct settings in the master data, that's why it's showing me only 5 items, and one of the item is in red because there is a risk for this item. I may not be in a position to fulfill its requirement, or it requires immediate action because I have a demand. I have a demand for this item to complete the production order, and that production order has a due date 15th of February, if you remember the production order I showed you. So if I want to know the breakdown, let's say the simple buy item system is recommending me I need to have 100 inventory on 24th of February, I can expand it, and I can simply click on the relevant line, let's say in front of demand. If I click on the 100, it is showing me I have a sales order number 783 and it has a due date of 24th. So this sales order is basically a demand. And if I click on the supply, there is nothing in the source because it's a recommendation. I should create a purchase request for this item in order to purchase this item. I can also have purchase orders as a recommendation in the instead of purchase request. It depends upon the MRP result settings. Similarly, if I look at the item which has a bill of material and which is marked as a production item, the demand is 5. It's again from the sales order, and the supply is 5, which is a planned production order with a due date of 24th. And same for the other components. If I simply expand it, just click on the relevant line, I can find out what it is. If I want to have a summarized version of my MRP recommendations, I can simply navigate to recommendation screen, and system is proposing me to create to create one purchase request for the four items, or 4 purchase requests, one purchase request for each item. It depends upon me when I will do the document generation from the recommendation. But at the moment, system is recommending me you need to create a purchase request for 4 items, and you should have production order for the other 2 items, which are basically production items. Once I'm satisfied with the results, I'll simply click on the save recommendation, and finish it. Now the next step is to create the documents in bulk. Imagine if you have hundreds of lines in the MRP, it's not possible to create one purchase order or one production order for each line item one by one. It will take a lot of time. So once the order recommendation is saved, I can go to recommendation. I can choose the scenario, okay, and I can choose what I want to see. Let's say I want to see everything, and I have a couple of other filters. I will ignore them for now. So as you can see, the same recommendations which MRP showed in the previous step, they are appearing here. So either I can select all of them, just a single click on the top of the column, or I can choose a specific row or multiple rows, and I can simply update. Once I'll update, it will automatically create these documents in the background. Maybe for some items I don't want to create purchase request. I can change the document type from purchase request to purchase order. Okay, and it will create the order. Okay, how it will create the order? There is a vendor code and name here. If there is a preferred vendor assigned to this item, it will automatically read the preferred vendor from the item master data. Otherwise, you have to choose the vendor before you update your actions. And same for the price list. If the price list is assigned to the preferred vendor, the price will appear here, and you have the flexibility to edit it, or you can simply update and it will create the documents in the background. So for example, I'm happy what system is proposing to me, and I want to create these documents. I'll simply click on the update button. Okay, there is something wrong. If you can say invalid production bill of materials. I think this item, it was a buy item. I selected as a production order. So I'll simply switch it back to purchase request. Okay, and you can see the vendor field is visible also because there is no vendor assigned in the master data. So I can choose a vendor here if I want. Okay, I'll simply update, and two production orders and one new purchase request is created in the background. If I go to my purchase module and access the last purchase request, I can see all the four items with the required date, required quantities are here, and the remarks are origin MRP. If I go to productions and production order, I can see there is a production order which is created by the MRP, and that is for the semi-finished item, and there is another production order for the finished item, and the quantity is according to the MRP, and I can find the origin how this production order is created. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe for more videos.